Hey guys, B8kd here. Today I'm going to be going over my PvP Raven, or the Trojan horse. I'm going to show you how I built this for PvP content. It's going to be small scale to medium scale warfare. This build will not hold up against 3 or 4 battleships blasting you, but this is going to be good for groups of 10 to 15 maybe in small scale PvP. First off, let's just go over the Raven. We have two drone slots all the way up to large, 7 weapon slots. We have 4 mid slots, which is pretty important. That's why I didn't go with the other missile boat, which we'll go over in a second. We have 6 lows and 3 rig slots in each. If we go into our market and just check out the Typhoon, I thought I was going to go with the Typhoon because it seemed like it would apply more damage with explosion velocity. Has a better scan resolution, the overall defense is better, but if we look at the shield resistances, it's 10% EM and 20% thermal, which I did not like, and we're missing a mid slot, which is really important on a battleship in my opinion. I was going to do this one, but I chose to do the Raven. Now if we open up the Raven here, we get activation time, damage, and missile velocity along with flight velocity. I hate moving slower and piss. I hate flying battleships, but I'm going to fly one just because it's what the thing is right now. Shield resistances, if you see 0% EM, 28% thermal. Now, technically, you don't need to plug the thermal with this build, but I decided to, just to get the overall effective hit points up. If we open up our attributes, we actually have more shield, 22,000, than we do on the Typhoon. So, even though the overall defense is higher, there's more shield tank on the Raven, just slightly. And paired with a lot of resistances, it actually helps a lot. Now for skills on the Raven, I am 4/4 on everything battleship related, engineering, command, whatever else there is. For afterburner and micro warp drive, I'm 5/5/4 because that's what my main account has. For large missile torpedoes, I'm 4/4 on both the operation and upgrade. So this is a realistic build to what my main account will exactly have. But for the bonuses on this ship for large missile torpedo operation, you do want at least 4 into that. I would recommend 5 into just that skill, just for the extra 5% and all of these bonuses, which equates to quite a bit of DPS. I think anywhere from 20 up to 100 DPS. Battleship command isn't too important. 5% flight velocity on top of the command bonus isn't too much. It gives you maybe 50 meters a second, I think. So I'm probably going to stick with 4/4 on the battleship command, but I would recommend maxing these 2 skills out 5/5 if you're going to be flying this 24/7. You want to get the maximum amount of potential out of this ship with the low amount of SP that you probably have to put into it at the moment. Now power grid, of course, is huge. You can pretty much fit whatever the heck you want on there. Capacitor is more than what the Typhoon is, so that's important as well. But if we go into our build, a few different options I had. Of course, I did 7 C-type large rapid missile launchers. I considered swapping 2 slots for medium rapids. If we just pop one of these on, they don't get any bonuses for having the rapids, but they deal with frigates and destroyers a lot better, and in some case micro warp driving cruisers. This will get them kind of off your ass. Now if we see, we take a pretty big DPS cut, 902, when it was like 1020 or something. These missiles are only 21 kilometers versus these missiles are 38. So what I'm going to try out for a little bit are going to be all larges. I may swap one or two of those out at some point if I just can't deal with a frigate. Okay, we are going to get these back on there. Okay, we're at 1033 DPS, which these don't apply very well to cruiser and under. It's just very minimal. I do have a way to kind of combat that, but it's still not going to apply its full effect on frigates and stuff. Micro warp drive, and even afterburner frigates, you need to get 2 webs on them to even do anything. So down on our mid slot, I have a target painter, which doesn't help as much as you'd imagine, but it does help when you have 2 webs on there. So I have 2 predator stasis webifiers and a target painter. Now this target painter can be swapped for a large Nosferatu to keep the longevity of your capacitor going during a fight. But how I have it built, you don't technically need one of these. It's going to be anywhere from a 5 to 20 minute fight in this ship before you get capped out, if you're popping your shield extenders religiously. So this slot can be changed to just about anything. I would recommend the target painter, but you can do the Nosferatu. You can do a scram to shut off a micro warp drive, which can be extremely helpful. Frigates still can go pretty fast even with 2 webs on them. You can do a large group shield booster in here if you are in fact the Trojan horse and the one entering a gate to a gate camp or something. But this is how I'm going to build mine. I do have a 30-kilometer disruptor. Even if I don't have somebody webbed, I will hopefully be able to Trojan horse somebody and lock at least one person down if they want to fight or not fight, whatnot. Like I said, these are 38 kilometers, so that's well within reason to stick the disruptor on there. So you can choose disruptor, scram. You could have a fleet full of frigates doing all the tackling, so you can swap this out for a Nosferatu or a scram, or just leave it the disruptor like how I'm going to. Drone slots. Of course you want the Mark 9 variant. I went with the Berserker because it has the fastest flight velocity and orbit speed out of all of the drones, the large drones. I was considering swapping these to the Mark 9 Valkyries to deal with frigates. It's not too much of a difference, to be honest. These will go 1,000 meters a second faster, and the orbit speed is 220 meters a second faster. So it's a toss-up on there, but I chose the Berserkers because they are the fastest large. So I'm going to stick with the Berserkers for a while, and if I have a problem with frigates, I can adjust my build from there, so I can go with the Valks and of course medium rapids to get them out of my face. Down below, I have a large micro warp drive. It does do a 25% capacitor hit, which kind of sucks, but you can get, I think, up to 1,200 meters a second with the build I have and minimal skills. So I want to be able to move. You can swap this for a large afterburner to mitigate some of the battleship's damage that are attacking you. But if you get hit by 1 or 2 webs, you're pretty much boned anyways. You're not really mitigating anything. You're going so slow. So I want to get into position somewhat faster and potentially escape or whatnot. So I'm going to stick with the large micro warp drive because it does get you fairly fast. Now on this build, I have 3 large shield extenders. This gives you 4,700 shield passive, and upon activation I think is around 5,500 to 6,000 shield on activation. You can once you get these in order, you can pretty much have a shield extender up 100% of the time. These do eat your capacitor fairly quick, and you have lots of options on how to manage this and what to do. Your signature radius increases substantially, so everything is going to be hitting you harder. But I think the tank is enough to hold up to the extra shield that it's giving you. And of course, pulsing them every 60 seconds give you a 25-second activation time. So you have about 100% uptime until you get capped out. I have one invulnerability shield. 36% resistances is a must. And I have a large capacitor battery. Since this is on a 60-second reactivation delay, one of your 3 shield extenders will be cap free, and it will do 2 pulses of your large micro warp drive if you have it on continuously. So that is good. This baby will give you, in a 20-minute fight, about 5 to 8 shield extender pulses for free, essentially. So you can get capped out and pop one of these. You can't use 2 shield extenders on the activation time on this. Unless you're going down hard, you can pop 1 and 2 right before your capacitor battery's about up, and you can get 2 off, but then you'll have about a 20-second delay until your 3rd one will be available. If we go into our rig slots, I thought about this quite a bit, and I have lots of different options, but I did choose a targeting subcontroller. I do want to target faster, especially in PvP scenarios. This is a must for me. Down below, I have a 20% flight velocity. This does increase your ship speed by, I think, 100 to 200-ish with the micro warp drive. So I do want to at least get over that 1K flight velocity to get in position and, of course, tackle people out of my 40-kilometer range. Now, down below here, I have a inertia modifier because I do get a warp preparation time bonus. I think it's like 3 to 4 seconds. It's usually 14 seconds, and now it's down to 11. So this is going to help the maneuverability and warping places, and I think overall I'll be happier with the polycarbon engine housing for the inertia mod. The other option, you can do a 22% capacity multiplier. This mod itself increases your capacity recharge rate, and this one module will give you about 1 to 1.5 shield extenders activation. Whatever I'm trying to say here. You can activate 1 to 2 of these just with that one rig, so that gives you additional 50 seconds of play, essentially. So I would recommend the polycarbon or the semiconductor here if you are going to be the Trojan horse and you don't really need to get in position or warp fast, whatnot, but this will give you more shield extender pulses. It seemed like I could get upwards with one of these attached and the capacitor battery. I could get upwards to 20 minutes of shield extender uses, which I think is, I forgot, like 20 to 28 shield extenders, which is a buttload. Now, if you add all those shields together, 4,000 times 28, that's a shitload of shield. But in my case, I don't think I need that extra pulses. I don't think I'm going to be in a fight for over 10 to 15 minutes in this thing. Usually it's just jumping gate camps or solo people. So inertia modifier is my way to go. Down below, I do have a EM screen reinforcer, 40%. You want to plug that EM hole 100%. Now, I did a thermal plug as well. A lot of ships' weapons have thermal damage incorporated on there, so I was considering adding a 30% shield increase here or the thermal resistance, but you actually get more EHP with the thermal plug. And overall, I decided on plugging the thermal. Like we were looking on the ship menu before, it was already at 28% resistances on thermal, paired with the invulnerability shields like 50 to 60%. But I think it goes up to about 70 with the shield, or 69 or something. So I chose on that instead. Now, for this slot, this is negotiable. You can put whatever you want here. More tank. You can plug, which is actually really good to plug the kinetic resistance on your shield, because there are a lot of weapons that use kinetic damage. You can do a 30% shield, wherever that is. Now, the enable capacitor need adjustment is does not work for shield extenders, just so you know. Not shield boost amount, because we don't have a shield booster. Shield bonus. The core field extender can be slotted in there, but your DPS will drop to about 900. But if you are truly the Trojan horse, you can slot that extra shield. I think you get upwards, I forgot how much. It's like 6,000 to 8,000 shield hit points, and then with all your resistances combined, that's around 10 to 12k damage they have to apply to you before they can break that one rig that you slotted. But for my purpose, I did a 12.5% activation time here. This is better than the damage because you don't apply your full damage to ships with medium rapids. You can try to get more applications, so explosion velocity bonus, explosion radius bonus is good, but it honestly doesn't help that much. I tried just about every different option, and you still just can't hit frigates very well. So I went with activation time, so if it does apply damage, it will apply faster, or more ticks of that small amount of damage. You also get a higher DPS rating with the activation time there. So that's good. If we do not have the capacitor battery, you can swap this. Now, you can swap this for just about anything. I would recommend like an invulnerability shield. You can pop another one of those on to make you even more tanky. Your capacitor does drop. It says only a minute, which I think is incorrect. It goes for a lot longer than that. But you only get about, I think, 9 cycles of your shield extender, which I think is only 4 to 5 minutes. So if you're busting a gate camp or something, that is very viable. You can swap a ballistic control system in here to get a lot higher DPS rating and more shots off. But you can't pulse these shield extenders as long as you can without the large capacitor battery. I do want longevity, just in case I get cucked and jumped by like 20 ships. I will be able to live quite a lot longer. Now everything in this build is without getting my cap drained from outside sources, so that does not include getting Nosferatu'd, which typically you will have lower cap than the ship Nosferatu in use, so it will not drain as much cap, or getting capacitor neuted, which can substantially change the outcome of this ship. I don't think I'm going to get cap neuted that hard, to say the least, because I won't be in a battle more than 5 to 10 minutes, and by that time I either won or didn't win, so it's not going to matter too much to me. This build really isn't for long drawn out fights. You can go look for a better PvE build if you want, but this is solely my Trojan horse PvP build. Now, something else you can slot to deal with frigates, of course we were just talking about it, we go to our mid slots, is a large newt. This will drain 692 gigajoules every 24 seconds. So it's going to take a long time for this ship to get neuted, but it will newt frigates and stuff pretty darn quick. So you can choose to slot one of those on there as well. or the Nosferatu. That will also nude them a little bit. So you have lots of different options and variations to this build. This is just how I built it. Let's just undock really quick. So if we go ahead and pop this and this, we have a 159k EHP, 42,000 shield hit points, which is a buttload. If you see our resistances, our thermal went all the way up to 73. I tried plugging a few things like EM and stuff, but I think it doesn't give that much resistance. I think it's like 5 to 8%. So that's why I chose the DPS over like the shield and stuff. But the extra shield is pretty handy. But I like my 1000 DPS. Makes me feel like I'm actually going to kill something if I do. Now, if we look at our fittings, we are at 1100 meters a second, which isn't the fastest in the world, but you can catch up to a ship that somebody has tackled, so you can get within range. Now, if we look at our targeting, our signature radius is pretty much a station, 1900 meters signature radius, so you are going to get blown the crap up. If you are the sole target, everything is going to be applying full damage to you. But that usually is the case already. Even with an afterburner, you might be able to mitigate some of the damage, but you're so big already, you're going to be taking full damage. Now I'm going to show you just how our shield extenders work. I'm going to pop one of them. So it drains about 8% capacitor, maybe a little less. We just kind of wait for the ticks to come up. Once you get to your second cycle of the shield extenders, they should all be in line to have a shield extender up 100% of the time. So I'm going to pop my capacitor battery and then the shield extender. That will only work for one shield extender, but typically 1 to 2 pulses of your micro warp drive if you time it correctly. Now in this case it was only 1 pulse of my large micro warp drive, but usually you don't have it on all the time either. I'm going to pop my third one. Now it'll be a few seconds until the next shield extender's up. So if you see, we're at 60% cap. I'm going to go ahead and pop this one. So now all of our shield extenders are in line. Our next pulse will be with our capacitor battery. Let's watch some TV while we're waiting. Okay, so my capacitor battery did hit that last micro warp drive, and it's going to get a second rotation on top of my shield extender getting additional rotation. Now in this meantime, our capacitor is slightly recharging. With a capacity multiplier, it will recharge faster and give you an extra 1 or 2 of these. But if you see, as long as we're not getting nuded or nosed, we are able to keep up our shield extenders, and our capacitor is doing fairly good. Now without any outside sources, we get upwards to 20 minutes of doing this. I will go for a stress test. I'm not too sure on what I'm going to do, maybe a tier 10 inquisitor or a dead space, but I'm going to see how long I can hold out before I get popped. Okay, we're on our next one, and our capacitor battery will be up for this next one. Of course, you could turn off your large micro warp drive as well and save quite a bit of cap that way. I think with all the pulses, it's 1 to 2 shield extender uses. Okay, our next one, if we time our capacitor battery right, it will get the shield extender and the micro warp drive twice. And we pretty much rinse and repeat over and over and over again. So yeah, I think you got the point. We can just keep on going with this. Now, if you are in trouble and you have 2 shield extenders up, you can use your capacitor battery, like you're completely neutered out or something. This capacitor battery will get the end of one of these, so you pop this and the end of another one. Just for like a last ditch effort, you can get 2 of those shield extenders off. They kind of overlap, and I think you only get about 30 to 35 seconds versus the whole 50 seconds you would if you're pulsing them. All right, let's head out to our stress test and see what we can do. Well, I'm heading into a T10 Inquisitor. This is wave 4. I think it may be the last wave on this Inquisitor. I'm going to go ahead and just stand still and do my tank test and see how long I can last. Now, the first shield extender I would pop on my own cap so it can slowly start to regen. And once this one is up, I will pop my capacitor battery. I will activate, oh, I can't activate my micro warp drive right now, but I will just lock onto this one and put all of these on. And my next shield extender is up. Now this is only 9 rats, so I could probably do this all day, to be honest. Probably taking this into like a T10 dead space and seeing how long I would last would be a little bit more realistic, to be honest. So they did break through my first shield. Pop this and that. In between activating my shield, it does take a little bit of damage. Oh, you know what? I should probably put the hardener on. That was stupid of me. Now I'm going to get a lot less damage applied on me. Okay, they did break my tank again. Pop this one now. I bet you if I start moving even in the slightest, so it'll be a little bit more realistic. I think it will reduce the damage dealt on me. So we'll just orbit this at like 9. Yeah, I went from 800 damage. Yeah, a lot less. So get ready for my next extender there. So I'm doing pretty well. I did swap my drones out for medium Valkyries. These are the fastest medium drones, but for some reason the Mark 9 large drones just were not cutting it. They're doing like the same DPS even on battleships for some reason. Okay, on to my next one. I forgot to pop my capacitor battery, but we're at 50% cap. We are getting energy absorbed, so it is going to cut off on my time a little bit. Okay, let's get ready. Pop this and pop that. Now this is slightly realistic towards what I'm going to be fighting. It's not going to be groups of 20 or 30 I'm going to try to face tank, but smaller groups. They are having trouble killing me, They are dropping my shield slowly in chunks, but nothing I can't handle. But yeah, I did swap for the medium drones. I think that's going to be better. I can have higher medium drone skills on my main than large, and I'm not going to be training any large drone skills on my main now. I thought the large drones would be better, but they're actually not. So I'm going to stick with mediums and live with it. Our DPS, I think, is about the same. Yeah, 1029. So the damage application will be much better on frigates trying to kill me, things up close. I think that's the overall best call on that. Now, of course, you don't want to take this into like a T like 8, 9, or 10 dead space and try to shield extend it, because you will get neuted to death and you can't hold up enough tank with this build. So definitely don't try to go out and PvP and then blame me you couldn't tank a storyline mission, because that's definitely not the build you want to bring into a storyline. But yeah, I can pretty much go on with this for another, 10 minutes. I'm definitely not going to do that. I'm probably just going to bang out the thing scramming me and warp off. But we are doing pretty good, to say the least. We're almost 50% shield, and we've been in here about 5 minutes. So I expect another 5 to 15 minutes before they can actually blow me up. I will get my double shield extender for last ditch effort, of course. When all my cap's gone, I would wait for both my shield extenders to pop. And that'll give me another 50 seconds, etc. So just go ahead and pop this. But yeah, that's about all I'm going to show you guys. I hope you like my fit on the Raven, my Trojan horse. This is what I'm going to be flying, so just make sure you don't have a bunch of newts and Nosferatus on me, and I might be able to survive a PvP fight. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.